go with it and move on. So I think that's more of an implementation detail. I think that I would love to change across the board. When something is better as default, it should be changed to the default in my view, especially when it applies to a vast majority of users of AWS, because no one bothers to read through every little detail. Yes, they should. That's a good stance to have, but the reality is that people don't. And so in the interest of customers, I think the default option should be the best option.
No, I agree, but I can respect the stance of not making breaking changes, and we have an example of that as well. It's fun. I think it is interesting. We're seeing this data distribution, right? The 20%. This is the another example of the so-called Pareto rule.
Yep.
The Microsoft. This is one from Wikipedia on the Pareto rule. Where top 20% of bugs are responsible for 80% of the crashes. Similar, the top 20% of your data is probably what's going to be used 80% of the time.
Yep.
Lots of other. This distribution comes up a lot in nature. So the code called 80-20 rule, or in other words, the Pareto rule.
Yep.
Well,
awesome. So okay. We're going to give a rating on this one, right? So in terms of the blog post and the details, I think I'd give this a 4. Yeah, I'd say definitely simplifies. It goes a long way in getting efficiencies. We will have to dig into a little bit deeper on this to see how easy it is to switch over to another tier. Like, do we need to take an EBS snapshot, launch it as a new volume type on the new instance and stuff like that? So we'll work out the logistics and get you more details on that. But yeah, a simpler tier that is cheaper, and almost as efficient, where the trade-offs aren't big to make. It's still sub-millisecond difference in access times, and this is read times. You're getting it into memory. I think it's totally worth the trade-off for most scenarios. And yeah, I love the announcement.
And I wonder if this is that we're going to expect other types of announcements like this. I mean, I think S3 Intelligent-Tiering pioneered it, and other ways of being able to, basically bring the customer's savings on this whole memory. I mean, memory is the bottleneck in terms of computing expense. If you're a gamer and you want to build a computer, you're going to find that out. Memory is the bottleneck. And so being able to say, here's a trade-off that you can make of performance versus latency. And do you want to make it? And you probably don't need everything in memory. You probably need 20%. So
Correct.
Being able to then capitalize on that difference and save on that, that's pretty neat. And I'm sure we'll see this same pattern pop up in other AWS managed services.
Agreed. And I'd definitely say this should be a simplifies.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, if it's something you can turn on, save money, almost no impact in the majority of use cases. Yeah. Sounds good to us.
Great. So we've got 4 announcements that are very cost and efficiency centric. And again, we've had a huge ton of announcements that have come in since our last episode. So we are still in catch-up mode, trying to get through all of those announcements. We'll continue to give you the most relevant ones for you. So please drop us a note. Please reach out to us and give us your feedback. We'd love to know what interests you the most and topics that we can bring to you. Anything else, Stephen, before we sign off?
Oh, that was great. Thank you, everyone, for your time, and we'll see you next week. And I think that'll be interesting. I think part of what we'll do next week is just digest a whole month's worth of announcements and look at the different ways that we can use those announcements to help save on our cloud spend and keep the businesses going.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.